Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to today's webinar organized by the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Singapore as our ongoing effort in promoting the economic and trade relations between Hong Kong and Vietnam. My name is Joey Tang. I'm from the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Singapore, and I will be the MC of today's webinar. For today's webinar, we are also very delighted to have the Hong Kong Business Association Vietnam, HKBAV, Hong Kong Trade Development Council, HKTDC, Invest Hong Kong, and Hong Kong Tourism Board co-organizing this webinar with us, so you can be sure to obtain news and updates about Hong Kong in various aspects. For today's program, Mr. Michael Chill, Chairman of the Hong Kong Business Association Vietnam, will start off the webinar by giving his opening remarks. After that, Mr. Wong Chun To, Director of the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Singapore, will give you a brief update on the latest situation in Hong Kong, as well as upcoming opportunities ahead of us. Coming next will be presentations by Ms. Tina Fan, Director of Indochina at Hong Kong Trade Development Council, and Mr. Melvin Lee, Head of Investment Promotion at Invest Hong Kong, who will share with us the business environment in Hong Kong and the support of their organizations to businesses in response to COVID-19. After that, Mr. Raymond Chan, Regional Director of Southeast Asia from the Hong Kong Tourism Board, will also join the webinar to talk about the tourism landscape. Throughout the webinar, please feel free to send us any questions which you may have by accessing the Q&A tab on your control bar at the bottom of your screen. We will consolidate the questions received and pass them to the panel of our speakers for a Q&A session at the end of all the presentations. And before we bring to you today's fruitful program, please allow me to remind you that we have muted all the microphones and videos to ensure all of us and all of you to focus on the speaker's presentations. We will be recording today's webinar, so you may review it anytime you want after today's webinar. The link of the recording will also be sent to you later, and you are most welcome to share it with your counterparts and friends who are not able to join us today. Finally, you will be directed to an evaluation form when you exit the Zoom platform. Please do not forget to let us know your feedback or suggestions about the webinar, and we look forward to that. So here comes the start of our program. May I first invite Mr. Michael Chill, Chairman of the Hong Kong Business Association Vietnam, who will be delivering his opening remarks. Apart from devoting great contribution in being the chairman to lead the HKBAV for a number of terms, Mr. Chill also serves as Honorary Secretary of the Federation of Hong Kong Business Associations Worldwide Limited for the term 2019 to 2021. In 2008, Mr. Chill was one of the torchbearers to represent Hong Kong enterprises in Vietnam to participate in the Olympic Games torch relay in Ho Chi Minh City. Now, without further ado, may I first invite Mr. Chill to give us his opening remarks for our webinar today. Mr. Chill, please.
Thank you, Joey, for your nice introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen in the region. A very warm welcome from Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. It's actually raining hard outside, but it's okay. My name is Michael Chiu. I'm the chairman of Hong Kong Business Association Vietnam, and also am the current honorable secretary to the Federation of Hong Kong Business Association. A big thank you to Hong Kong ETO for organizing this seminar for the Vietnam audience. This is a testimony to the growing role Vietnam is playing in the region and world market. Hong Kong has always been a top foreign investor in Vietnam, and the trend continues as we observe. I'm eager to find out what the new norm will be from the expert panel to speak today. COVID has not been kind to the world, and while Vietnam is battling its own share, I can't help but feel that we are in a better place than most when today in Vietnam. With a population of almost 98 million, our infectious rate remains in the hundreds and casualties rate is still low, even though we did face the second wave. Hong Kong has not been as lucky, but the determination and efforts of Hong Kong SAR government, we can expect a better Hong Kong to evolve only stronger as the Lion Rock spirit we always refer to. Let me not hold back, everyone, and get this webinar going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chiu. May I now invite Mr. Wong Chun To, Director of the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Singapore, to give us a brief update about the latest situation in Hong Kong, as well as upcoming opportunities ahead of us. Mr. Wong, please.
Dear friends of Hong Kong, good afternoon. Welcome to this seminar co-organized by the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Singapore, Hong Kong Business Association Vietnam, HKTDC, Invest Hong Kong, and Hong Kong Tourism Board. A special thank you for Mr. Michael Chiu for making this webinar happen. It has been a while since my last visit to Vietnam. I hope everyone is well during this time. Fighting COVID-19 is a continuous process. Noting the advice by the WHO that COVID-19 would be with us for a while without effective treatment or vaccine, which are still not yet to be found, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region Government is incorporating our work of disease prevention and control as well as infection management into the new normal of the daily operation of the society. To this end, our government has all along adopted a suppress and lead strategy and try to strike a balance among public health protection, economic impact, and social acceptance, while maintaining the various disease prevention measures and allowing room for gradual resumption of normal operation activities of the society when the situation permits. Thanks to the efforts of the whole community, Hong Kong actually managed to achieve a relatively low level of local transmission between April and June earlier. At that time, our case number was among the lowest in advanced economies. We were indeed one of the earliest who had flattened the curve of confirmed cases. Unfortunately, starting from July, we have been seeing a new wave of local cases. Under our suppress and lift strategy, we have to tighten our social distancing measures. With the full support of the central government, we are introducing a universal and voluntary COVID-19 testing program to identify any silent transmitters in the community. Anyone wants to have a COVID-19 test, we will be able to get one free of charge. New community facilities for patients is also being built. The COVID-19 outbreak is an unprecedented challenge to all economies around the world, whereas almost all sectors have been hard hit. As a small and open economy, Hong Kong is no exception. Our economy has taken a great hit, with real GDP in the second quarter of this year having contracted by 9% year-on-year, according to our advanced estimates. To relieve the imminent need of businesses and workers, our government drew on our past reserves and launched 3 rounds of support measures worth more than $37 billion to support businesses and individuals, to keep workers in employment, and to assist the economy to recover. In particular, some measures for corporates are nationality neutral, so regardless of where the businesses incorporated in Hong Kong are from originally, they will be covered. If you are interested in knowing more details, a brochure can be found via our HKETO website and also the link of COVID-19 all-in-one website as shown on our screen. Due to the severe COVID-19 situation, the electrical general election scheduled for September 6th this year will be postponed for 1 year in order to protect public safety and public health, as well as ensure elections are conducted openly and fairly. As you are aware, the past year has not been easy for Hong Kong. Apart from the COVID-19 crisis, widespread social discontent in the second half of last year has presented us with difficult social and economic challenges. Meanwhile, the Hong Kong SAR government is taking actions to ensure law and order in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is an inalienable part of China. and every country has a right and duty to protect national security and sovereignty. The national security law in Hong Kong SAR is to plug the existing legal loophole on national security in Hong Kong and was made in full accordance with the constitutions of China and the basic law of the Hong Kong SAR. It guarantees the continued success of one country, two systems in Hong Kong, how it maintains a safe and stable society, and creates a favorable business environment. The law only targets criminal acts of secession, subversion of state power, terrorist activities, and collusion with foreign or external forces which endanger national security. Only an extremely small minority who endanger national security is being affected, while the safety and basic rights of the vast majority of law-abiding Hong Kong residents are being protected, at the same time safeguarding the long-term prosperity and stability of Hong Kong. Despite all these challenges, our financial market continues to perform in an orderly manner. Hong Kong dollar has remained in the stronger half of the convertibility zone in recent months, and even triggered a strong side convertibility undertaking in April 6 times. Aggregate deposit rose during 2019, indicating that money has continued to flow into Hong Kong. On the capital market side, while stock markets across the road, including Hong Kong's, have become more volatile in recent months, trading in Hong Kong has remained orderly. Our IPO market remained active. Between January and June this year, 54 companies have listed in our stock exchanges and raised a total of $11 billion. All these show that our position as an international financial hub remains very strong. Looking forward, I'm also more excited to share with you some of the many opportunities ahead about Hong Kong. Firstly, a number of major projects are coming online which will transform our cityscape, including the M+ Museum and Palace Museum and the West Kowloon Cultural District. There will be also the new HKETO Sports Park and the Central Wan Chai Harbour Front, to name a few. On the innovation and technology front, Science Park and Cyberport will be expanded, and we expect that the first building at Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park at the Lok Ma Chau Lu will be open in 2023. The Guangdong Hong Kong Macau Greater Bay Area, having an area of about 56,000 square kilometers, a population of 71 million, and a combined GDP of $1.6 trillion, is a massive market for businesses to expand. Hong Kong will remain a perfect springboard for businesses, including that in Vietnam, to tap into the massive mainland market while enjoying the world-class services and institutional environments in Hong Kong. While right now we are all facing a difficult moment, we should remain optimistic and prepare for the future. If you are interested in knowing more about Hong Kong, we will be happy to answer your questions during the Q&A sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wong, for your comprehensive update about Hong Kong. And just a gentle reminder to all of you, if you have any questions for Mr. Wong, please do not hesitate to let us know by using the Q&A tab on the control bar at the bottom of the screen. We will consolidate the questions and arrange them to be answered after all our presentations. So here comes the next presentation by Ms. Tina Fan, Director of Indochina at the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, HKTDC. As a lot of our participants for the webinar today are operating their businesses in Vietnam in various sectors, I'm sure that all of you will be interested to know more about the HKTDC's initiatives to help businesses internationalize and conduct international trade, as well as HKTDC's trade promotional activities in the region. So Tina, if you're ready, may I pass the mic over to you, please?
Okay, thank you, Joey. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the ETO office in Singapore has invited us to join for this webinar. I'm sure that everyone in this room today including me, could have probably have the same concern of how we can sustain the business during this difficult time with all the travel bans and the social distancing imposed. Well, the answer is going online. Yes, this situation has led us into the major shift of the business interaction, trade events, and marketing activities online, like what we are doing today. We believe this trend will go on for a while and would keep the business going for the time being. As you all aware, the COVID-19 has drastically changed the consumer behavior and created significant impact on the global economy. Many companies experience the seamless adoption of technology and innovations, from contactless deliveries to digital financial services, from online doctor consultation, which we may have never heard before, to the online business meetings and the virtual events. Through this webinar, I would like to introduce to you our HKTDC online marketplace, the virtual expo, and the ways we connect you with the potential business partner in this unprecedented situation. For HKTDC, since April, we have moved most of our sourcing fair to our virtual platform. Our virtual expo launched with the regular thematics campaigns, echo the market, global market trends, and the sourcing demands for each month. We do that with the hope to help to facilitate our customer making the business connection as usual, and also fulfill the buyer procurement needs during the traditional sourcing season. In addition to the building business connection, we also help our buyer and the suppliers stay abreast of the market trends and the product highlights through our blogs. You can see that in our blog, we have quite a lot of bite news article and the webinar, recording all the latest buzz, business tips, and product highlights in the different sector for all the customer reference. So this is a few figure of our online platform for your information. It features more than 130,000 suppliers, and we serve more than 2 million global buyers. And every year we generate more than 24 million business connections each year. So I hope you can enjoy our platform too. So we also offer the online business matching as a value-added service. Our dedicated business matching team are here to help you to get connected with the potential business partner. For example, a buyer who look for the special products or specific supplier, or even require the other professional assistant. We will, based on the client requirements, we will line up the relevant supplier and then arrange a virtual meeting for them. So what the client need to do? Very simple. You just complete a very short question like the form on our marketplace about your sourcing preference, and we will take care of the rest. This is the next few slides. It's just the overall result of our virtual expo for your reference, but I don't want to go into the detail as you may find it easily online. So this is our top buyer around the world, including United States, Hong Kong, India, UK, etc. But what I would like to highlight here is the participation of Vietnam and Cambodia in our virtual expo, which is just launched last week. We have only one exhibitor, 20 buyers, but we arranged 80 virtual meetings for them. Well, probably you may say that this is a small number, but I believe this is a good start. As mentioned, if you are the supplier or the manufacturer who would like to find the global buyer or promote your products worldwide, so come to us, call us for the right package to join. We have a very special package, O2O. That means online to offline. You have 12-month online exposure, and your product also display at our physical trade fair when it's resumed to normal. So also facilitate the sourcing on the go. We also integrated all our trade fair, product magazine, and product information and supplier information into one app named HKTDC Marketplace. So please feel free to go like into the Apple Store or Google Play to for free download. And if you ask me, I am not the supplier, I'm not the buyer. I just have a project. I would like to find a potential partner or investor. Good TDC help? Definitely yes. I have introduced to you 2 events here, like Belt and Road Summit and Asian Financial Forum. These 2 platforms you can ride on in finding the right partner or the investor. And both events are jointly organized by the HKTDC and the Hong Kong government. And I'm sure that if you have a infrastructure project, including like hospital, school, railway, roadway, including the industrial zone, so Belt and Road Summit is the right event for you. Why the Asia Financial Forum is a little bit more on the financial sector, but we serve more project owner in different sector. And from startup to the conglomerate. We do have some like Vietnam and Cambodian participant before. So I do hope to see you all again in this like maybe online version or the physical event later on in Hong Kong. And as a Hong Kong trade promotional arm, we are in the business of connecting the people. We bring the Hong Kong people to the world. We also bring the world to Hong Kong to do the business on the Hong Kong platform. We do this with the help of our 50 offices around the world. We offer the service in person. Our team are already here and ready to help. Please call to your nearest office nearest to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. This is very informative indeed. I'm sure that our participants will find it useful. So just now we have looked at how HKTDC can assist local businesses in Vietnam to tap in opportunities in the region. But certainly some of you may not be just satisfied about having your businesses only based in Vietnam and could be considering expanding your businesses to Hong Kong, which is a perfect springboard if you are eyeing at opportunities also at the Greater Bay Area. So the following presentation by Mr. Melvin Lee, Head of Invest Hong Kong, will certainly bring you some useful information about how Hong Kong remains as an attractive investment location. So Melvin, when you're ready, let me pass the time to you now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, a lot has certainly happened since the COVID-19 outbreak started. There have been a fair bit of disruptions, changes to how the business world operates. Some sectors are no longer similar today as when they were prior to the outbreak. So as we look at settling down into a new norm, how will the Hong Kong economic and business environment look like going forward? Over the next few minutes or so, I'd like to share a bit more about the fundamentals of the Hong Kong business environment, which I believe have largely remained intact, and how it will continue to help Hong Kong thrive as a choice business city, as well as an attractive investment location. Before I go on further, just a quick introduction of our organization, Invest Hong Kong. We are a government agency, and our role is to support foreign businesses like yourselves, who are looking at expanding your business into Hong Kong and setting up a presence there. I will go into further details about how we go about doing this at the end of my presentation. I think while the Hong Kong economy has certainly been hit due to the various developments in recent months, I believe that Hong Kong will continue to thrive as a choice business city. And one of the key reasons is because of its very centralized location. supported and complemented by a very comprehensive network of connectivity of transportation, be it on land, sea, or air. Besides that, Hong Kong is also well connected and close to many key economic centers in Asia, which is arguably the most dynamic region for businesses today. Key economic centers in Asia such as ASEAN, as in Japan and India. But besides its centralized location, Hong Kong offers a very simple and cost-efficient tax system. Broadly speaking, there are only two main taxes in Hong Kong, which is firstly the corporate tax, which is based on a tax on profit, and secondly, personal income tax. There isn't any other taxes which you find in other economies such as GST, VAT, capital gain tax, or withholding tax. So in Hong Kong, the corporate tax, it's 16.5%. 16.5% on profit generated. And for new businesses in Hong Kong, the first 2 million Hong Kong dollars of profits is taxed at half the rate of 16.5, which is 8.25. So this very simple and competitive tax structure is one of the key attractions which keep many foreign companies looking into Hong Kong as a business investment location. Given that Hong Kong is a choice business city and an attractive investment location, over the years, we have seen a constant inflow of foreign businesses coming into Hong Kong. We have seen companies from US, in UK, Europe, and many other parts of Asia too, coming to set up a base in Hong Kong and using Hong Kong as a base for further expansion into mainland China as well as other parts of Asia. Very often, these foreign companies also use the Hong Kong office as the regional HQ for their Asian operations. But vice versa, we also see mainland Chinese companies using Hong Kong as a base in their internationalization efforts. They set up in Hong Kong to internationalize elsewhere. So with all these foreign companies in Hong Kong and together with the own domestic enterprises, it creates a very dynamic and very vibrant business city. The potential of business potential in Hong Kong is further enhanced through the Chinese government's launch of this Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area Initiative. CT touched on this earlier. I believe you already have some details on it, but very broadly, it is a plan to jointly develop 9 cities in southern China together with Hong Kong and Macau. There are plans to develop the infrastructure. There are plans to develop the connectivity and the transportation, the logistics in system within all these cities, with the aim of facilitating greater flow of goods and services, capital, as well as human capital. The potential of of this initiative can be seen in the population base of about more than 70 million and a land area of close to 56,000 square meters. Usually when I do this presentation, when I mention about 71 million population, many people get very excited by it. But I don't know, maybe in today's context, when we're talking to Vietnamese business people, 70 million may not be a big deal because you already have a domestic market of close to 100 million. But nevertheless, I think it's a potential worthwhile exploring. How does Hong Kong come into this picture of the Greater Bay Area Initiative? There are a couple of roles which Hong Kong play, and foreign companies can look at this as some suggestions. Hong Kong offers a safe, a stable, and a transparent platform for foreign companies to explore the opportunities in the Greater Bay Area. In addition, being a key financial center and R&D center in Asia, companies can also use Hong Kong to source for capital, conduct R&D, develop technology to explore the opportunities in the Greater Bay Area Initiative. And being very close to many of these Chinese cities in the southern part of China, Hong Kong offers a very convenient location to access these cities. In Hong Kong, you can actually travel to Shenzhen in 20 minutes by a high-speed rail, and you can get into Guangzhou, the capital city of Guangdong province, within 50 minutes. So it makes easy access into some of these Chinese cities within the GBA initiative. I've shared a bit of what the business environment in Hong Kong is like, but I would like to share a bit also a snapshot, a kind of companies that have been investing in Hong Kong. Earlier this year, we conducted a survey on the companies that invested in Hong Kong in 2019. From the survey, we gathered that in 2019, the number of companies with overseas shareholders, number of companies in Hong Kong with overseas shareholders have increased by almost 10% compared to 2 years ago. And out of this group of companies, there was an increase of almost 9% of these companies which use Hong Kong as their regional headquarters. I'd like to put things into a bit of context. In 2019, you would probably remember that that was the year when the second half of 2019 was the period where there was a bit of social unrest going on in Hong Kong by the pro-democracy supporters. So there have been quite a bit of a disruption, there have been quite a bit of demonstrations, some of which turned violent. But yet, despite half of the year being in that situation, we see an increase in the number of foreign investors into Hong Kong. And I think that is a testimony of the confidence that foreign companies have in Hong Kong as a choice business and investment location. When we delve deeper into the companies and the numbers, the top investors are from mainland China and other key developed economies such as Japan, US, and UK. In ASEAN, the largest investor into Hong Kong is Singapore, and they rank number 5. Not surprisingly, the major lines of investments these companies make are into sectors that are traditional strengths of Hong Kong, such as finance and banking, transportation and logistics, and trading and wholesale and retail. And when we delve deeper into the reasons why they actually chose Hong Kong as an investment location, what I mentioned earlier came true very often. The simple and cost-efficient tax structure, the geographical location, and the very free and open business environment. Besides investments, we also looked into the startup scene into Hong Kong. Similarly, we conducted a survey among the startups in Hong Kong. As you may know, Hong Kong started developing the startup ecosystem in early 2010s, rolling out some plans and initiatives to support startups. Today, there is a fairly established community of startups, private equity firms, VCs, as well as other stakeholders established in Hong Kong. In 2019, the number of startups in Hong Kong grew by close to 50%, and the number of staff these startups employed jumped almost by 100%. Interesting to note that many of these startups come from overseas. Close to more than 40% of them are from overseas entrepreneurs. And I think this is also a testimony of the comfort and attractiveness of the startup scene in Hong Kong for overseas businesses or overseas entrepreneurs to start off their operations there. Well, I've come to almost the end of my presentation, and as mentioned earlier, I would be touching a bit on how we support foreign companies who are looking at growing and expanding into Hong Kong. So we work with companies from all geographical markets as well as all sizes and all industries. As early as the stage where they are even just exploring whether they are keen to look at Hong Kong as a business market, we can come in and support them in terms of sharing information such as market information, such as regulatory information. And when the company is ready to set up a presence there, we work with them on actual setting up in terms of securing office space, in terms of business registration, in terms of staff recruitment, and eventually when they are launched in Hong Kong, to help them plug into the Hong Kong business community. How do they get in touch and how do they get themselves known among the business community in Hong Kong? So we'll be happy to work with companies in Vietnam. Should any of you be keen to explore Hong Kong as a market or as an investment location, we'll be happy to work with you on that, even as the early stage of, or if you're just planning on it. Well, feel free to get in touch with me should you have any queries, or if you have any questions that you'd like to find out further on, please feel free to post it during the Q&A session later. Thank you.
Thank you, Melvin. Before we move on to the next presentation, please be reminded that we are going to have the Q&A session after the presentations. So please feel free to drop us a question by accessing the Q&A tab on the control bar at the bottom of your screen. Now, after 3 presentations about Hong Kong in general and also the business opportunities which Hong Kong may bring for you, we are also pleased to have Mr. Raymond Chan, Regional Director of Southeast Asia from the Hong Kong Tourism Board, to share with us how Hong Kong is going to embrace the new norms of travel and the highlights of strategies to revive the city's tourism industry. So Raymond, when you are ready, let me pass the mic over to you.
Thank you, Joey. Good afternoon, everyone, and I hope all of you are doing great. The COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented challenge, not only to global tourism, but across all economic sectors. So let me start with the situation timeline in Hong Kong. Back in January, when the pandemic first started, Hong Kong responded quickly to control the viral spread. And through great effort and hard work by public and private sectors, Hong Kong has once battled the pandemic effectively and started its record of 0 or single-digit local cases since early April. And since then, most public services and establishments like fitness centers, entertainment centers, as well as attractions and theme parks have all reopened gradually. And starting from June, Hong Kong International Airport has also resumed transit services. However, Hong Kong has recently recorded another wave of COVID-19 since July, and therefore all the attractions are now closed again. But the Hong Kong SAR government has responded quickly with the new social distancing measures in order to control the spread. The impact from the COVID-19 has led to enormous changes in the global tourism industry, and UNWTO is estimating an 80% decline in global visitors this year in 2020, while IATA is expecting full air capacity could only be resumed in 2024. Given the current situation is still evolving with continuous increase in confirmed cases in a lot of countries, a lot of destinations are now exploring travel bubble or greening arrangement. However, this arrangement has to be carefully reviewed with individual country with a list of requirements, and Hong Kong is definitely keen to explore the arrangement with some stabilized countries later on. I believe we all agree that the overall tourism landscape will be reshaped with the new normal. By looking at the plans or insights from different countries right now, we do anticipate visitors will focus on domestic travel first, given international borders will only be opened at a later time. People might prefer shorter trips, and we do think long-haul travel, particularly from Southeast Asia region, will be reduced due to different consideration factors, including the reduction in traveling expenses after the pandemic, which gives Hong Kong and some Asian destinations better opportunities. Finally, public health, safety, and wellness travel will be an important factor for future travel as well. So even Hong Kong does not have a domestic city, but our overall tourism recovery also started with the locals. In fact, we have launched Holiday at Home campaign in June in order to support the industry and to boost local consumption. Then followed by markets with travel bubble arrangement, and finally international tourists when most borders are reopened. So the next critical stage is to ensure continuous effort to safeguard the health, safety, and hygiene standards. Especially this will be a major concern not only to our global leisure travelers, but MICE groups as well as business events. Some standard procedures like increased frequency of sanitization, cleaning, temperature checks, social distancing, etc. will only be considered as given or a norm when moving into the new norm of post-COVID-19. Therefore, many of our Hong Kong trade partners have gone beyond the standard procedures and started to use technology to ensure cleanliness. You can rest assured that Hong Kong, together with all the industry partners, are doing our very best to safeguard the well-being of our travelers from around the world. The next few slides will highlight how Hong Kong is embracing the new norms of travel and how our industry partners have taken proactive approaches to ensure safety and cleanliness of their premises. Above and beyond the normal cleaning and disinfection processes, Hong Kong International Airport has adopted the use of technology. 3 intelligent sanitization robots are deployed for round-the-clock cleaning and disinfection. Some frequently used areas and key operating areas within the airport terminals are kept immaculately clean. Another first for Hong Kong International Airport is the pilot testing of CleanTech, which is on the right-hand side of your slide. Passengers and staff need to enter an enclosed booth for a 40-second disinfection procedure, and the machine can remotely kill viruses and bacteria on human bodies and clothing, therefore, to ensure sanitization is achieved. For public transportation like MTR, which is widely used in Hong Kong, station facilities with high public usages, such as ticket machines, lift buttons, handrails, are all cleaned and disinfected regularly in every 2 hours. Robots that automatically emit vaporized hydrogen peroxide are deployed for deep cleaning too. And some other public transportation like buses and taxis have also increased their sanitization too. Of course, the hotels in Hong Kong are also stepping up their disinfection measures to protect their staff and room guests. Some of the measures include using disinfectant to clean aircon outlets and dust filter on a daily basis, increase cleaning and disinfection frequency of public areas and facilities to once every hour, and providing hand sanitizers in all public areas for the hotel guests. While some shopping malls in Hong Kong have been implemented self-disinfecting handrails as well. By reduced capacity in the attractions or theme parks, we can ensure safe distancing measures are put in place. All staff and visitors are required to wear surgical masks and have their temperature checked. This is of course to couple with increasing frequency of disinfecting and cleaning in order to maintain a very high hygiene standard in all of the attractions and theme parks in Hong Kong. In order to introduce more experiences of Hong Kong and its hidden gems to our Vietnamese travelers, more promotions will be planned in Vietnam later on by working with different media partners as well as key opinion leaders, the KOLs, and to create more interesting destination content on different digital platforms, and of course, to work closely with our airline partners and travel agent partners, including Cathay Pacific, who has the most number of flights between Vietnam and Hong Kong. Besides leisure, Hong Kong is definitely a very popular destination for meeting, incentive, convention, and exhibition, and this segment plays an important part in Hong Kong's overall tourism strategy. In fact, Hong Kong is a key destination for many Vietnamese corporates, and therefore, we have been receiving many Vietnamese MICE groups in the past few years. In order to offer more perks for the MICE groups in the future, we are planning to initiate a new campaign called Meet On at Hong Kong. Instead of having a minimum group size of 20, any meeting and incentive group with minimum 10 people with 2 night stays in Hong Kong will now be eligible for some of the great offers from the program. Besides partnering with over 80 hotels to offer free meeting packages and free dining packages for small MICE groups, there will also be great offers, including free upgrade and free tickets offered by Cathay Pacific, depends on the group size as well as the terms and conditions. Of course, there are also offers from all the attraction partners, as well as free cultural performances and welcome souvenirs from Hong Kong Tourism Board. All these exciting offers will be listed on our dedicated Meet On at Hong Kong website, which will go live as soon as the market is ready. You are all welcome to subscribe our e-newsletter at mehongkong.com in order to receive the latest information. So this is that's it for my sharing, and I hope it gives you a better idea on Hong Kong's latest tourism update. Meanwhile, let's wait for a little bit longer. We are all getting prepared for the day when the world is connected again. We'll get through this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Now here comes the Q&A session, which a lot of you are clearly interested in, as evident in the number of questions that we have received. So in case you still have any questions, please take this last chance to pass us your questions through the Q&A tab on your control bar. And as time is limited, I'm afraid that we may not be able to handle all questions received, but rest assured that we would contact you individually after the webinar in case your questions are not answered in the next session. So may I now invite our speakers today again to answer your questions. So since we have really received quite a number of questions, let me try to group those similar ones together. And perhaps we'll start with Tina from HKTDC. Our audience would actually like to know how HKTDC find buyers for business matching, because they are also looking for buyers as well. And another participant would also like to know, since that they do not have enough or sufficient marketing budget, is there an easy way that you would recommend for them to expand their business to overseas buyers? Tina, would you be able to answer these two questions from our audience?
Thank you, Joey. Well, everybody will ask for the buyer. Buyer is the key right now. So you know what TDC do? How to find the buyer for you? Of course, we have a data bank, a big data bank with the 50 offices around the world. We work on our data bank, and whereas we get the contact the people. First, we invest quite a lot of resources for our data bank. And our data bank should be keep updated. And we also contacted them to see that what is their sourcing needs. If we contact the supplier, we will check for the sourcing need that they want. So we will then match them with our exhibitor or the supplier that going on with the TDC. Beside that, we also invest quite a bit on the search engine, and then with a lot of resources to get the data bank on the buyer. And also, like the second question that Joey put forward, that if you have a limited budget for marketing, so what would you want to do to promote your product, things like that. Earlier, I just mentioned about we have an O2O package that is very suitable for the supplier or manufacturer who would like to find a global buyer and also promote their products worldwide. Why? Because you have a 12 months, I just mentioned, you have 12-month exposure on our HKTDC marketplace, and your product also can be displayed at our physical trade fair when the trade fair resumes normally. But especially for this year, the Hong Kong government give us some budget and to the overseas supplier to participate with the TDC events. So you will have some kind subsidized by the Hong Kong government. So if you are interested, and I'm sure that if you are the supplier, this is the only one of the way that I believe is worth to try. So if you are interested in the package, please contact our office for more details. I hope I addressed the questions, Joey.
Thank you, Tina. So let's go on to the next question. Actually, the next question is for Raymond. Our audience said you mentioned about the Meet On at Hong Kong campaign just now, and they would like to know more about the details of it. Would Raymond be able to elaborate a little bit more about the campaign?
Sure, thank you very much, Joey. Basically, the Meet On at Hong Kong campaign is a new campaign that we are going to roll out in the market very soon. But in fact, in order to encourage more corporates to organize meetings and incentives to Hong Kong, we actually have an incentive program called Hong Kong Rewards. So as long as you have 20 people visiting Hong Kong to organize your meeting and incentive trip there in Hong Kong, you can actually work with your travel agencies in Vietnam to apply for the rewards. The Meet On campaign at Hong Kong is actually a top-up program that we try to offer more valuable perks for the MyScripts going to Hong Kong. So you can also you can also visit our website for more details, or you can contact any of the key travel agencies in Vietnam. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. So here it comes another question for Melvin. The question is about, well, our audience said he's interested in knowing more about the Greater Bay Area. So would Melvin be able to elaborate a little bit more about the concept of that Greater Bay Area?
Sure. Well, the Greater Bay Area Initiative, the plan is actually launched by the Chinese government, and it is a joint plan to develop the whole of South China region, 9 cities in South China together with the special administrative regions of Hong Kong and Macau, tapping on the respective strengths of these cities. So tapping on the strengths, for example, in Hong Kong, it's financial capabilities, being a key financial center. Hong Kong will contribute financial expertise into this plan. In Shenzhen, it will be more on technology and R&D. In Guangzhou, it's on manufacturing capabilities. So leveraging on all the respective strengths of these cities, there is a combined plan to develop the whole region, building up the transportation, logistics, and infrastructure framework so that to allow greater flow of goods and services and human capital. Specific to that, there will be subsequently greater details about the respective opportunities that come along the way. We'll be happy to share on a one-to-one basis on anyone else who may be interested to find out more about that.
Thank you, Melvin. So here is another question which is quite long. So let me read it out. And this question is, these questions are for Mr. Wong, Director of HKETO. So the first question is, how is the trade situation for import and export businesses now, since the so-called special status for Hong Kong was being taken out by the United States? Does it mean that the business tax percentage in Hong Kong would be the same as in China? And what would be the advantages for American originated companies to trade in Hong Kong instead of China under this circumstance? And the second question is about the national security law. Our audiences would like to know whether the national security law being implemented in Hong Kong would affect American business trading. For example, whether China will treat these American-based companies fairly. So may I invite Mr. Wong to address these two questions?
Thank you, Joey. Maybe I will first address the question about national security law. As I mentioned during my presentation, the national security law will only target a very small minority of criminals. Normal business activities and normal business operations will not be impacted by the law. There are no reasons for overseas investors, including American investors or Vietnamese investors, to worry about the law if they are not going to do anything that are banned under the national security law. About the first question of the so-called special status being taken away by the United States, maybe I will need to first explain that Hong Kong as a separate custom territory is not given by any individual country. It is acknowledged under the World Trade Organization membership. Hong Kong, China was a founding member of the WTO. We participate multilaterally in the World Trade Organizations, and there's no reason for any individual country, including the United States, to question our special status under the WTO framework. So there will not be impact on the business tax rate in Hong Kong due to any external forces. Back to the questions about what are the advantages for American companies to do business in Hong Kong instead of in mainland China. That will be back to the policies of one country, two systems, and all the advantages we enjoy under the unique arrangement. If any individual companies are interested in knowing more about how Hong Kong could help them, they could approach us or Invest Hong Kong or HKTDC, and we are all stand ready to explain more in details. Thank you very much for the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Wong. So here comes the other question for Raymond, which is about travel bubble. So the idea of travel bubble has been mentioned by different places around the world, including Hong Kong. And our audience would like to know if it means that once the travel bubble is formed, people in Vietnam and people in Hong Kong can travel to these two places after this travel bubble is formed between the two places.
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, I'm sure quite a lot of people are very interested about this question. Well, basically, as mentioned in my presentation earlier, there are quite a lot of criteria or requirements for both countries in order to set up the travel bubble arrangement. Besides evaluating all the factual analysis, a very high standard of protocols must also be set up as well. Hong Kong has been reviewing the possibility to create a link with some of the low-risk countries such as Thailand, Vietnam, and Korea, etc. But again, this list is reviewed from time to time according to the evolving situation. However, once the travel bubble arrangement has been set up, we also have to decide whether priority will go to business and essential travelers first. So at this point of time, everything is still in discussion with different government departments, along with the evolving situation, and hopefully something could be definitely confirmed soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. And I'm afraid that we are running out of time and can only afford one last question. So please be rest assured that for those questions that we are not able to answer during today's Q&A session, we will get back to you after the webinar. And the last question, which is also a very fruitful question, and we are happy to have Mr. Michael Chiu to answer this question for us. The question is about what HKBAV is going to organize with HKETO going forward. The audience suggests that whether there can be some topical issues about opportunities in Hong Kong that Vietnam businesses can take advantage of.
Thank you for the questions. I'm very glad to answer this question because it essentially means our participants are eager to have similar kinds of this kind of webinar in the future. As a non-profit, non-governmental association of Hong Kong business in Vietnam, one of our main objectives of Hong Kong BAV is to facilitate and increase two-way investment, business and trade flows between Vietnam and Hong Kong, as well as to raise the profile of Hong Kong in the Vietnamese business community. As far as I understand, this is also one of the causes which Hong Kong BTO is promoting. Against such backdrop, we will definitely explore with Hong Kong BTO to see what is going for the next topic or so, to make sure that our collaboration with Hong Kong BTO would suit the need of our Vietnamese business community. And then please let us know the specific topics that you are interested in so that we can explore for the future. I understand that HKETO is inviting you all to complete an evaluation from which you will be directed to after the end of this webinar. So please feel free to let us know your view, what you want. We look forward to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chiu. So thank you once again so much for our speakers to join us today and share your insights with us. And to all our guests who attended the webinar today, may I thank you all for making time out of your busy schedules to join us. Please share with us your thoughts on the webinar today by completing the evaluation form. Please also let us know the topic that you are interested in so that we, the HKBAV and HKETO, can further explore. As a gentle reminder again, the recording of this webinar will be made available in our website and we will share with you the link later. Do share it with your counterparts and friends who would like to know more about Hong Kong under the new normal after COVID-19. And thank you very much again for joining us today, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Have a good day.